Question for you, John.
2.
One question. Well, maybe multiple questions.
Oh, no, that was the answer. It was 2.
What is the best Back to the Future movie?
Oh, that's a tough question. Oh. So, sticking with typical sequel tradition, I have to go with the first one, the original. Rarely are the sequels better than the first one.
What's the second best?
That's hard. I haven't seen them in so long, I honestly can't remember.
Well, there's the,
I remember the Old West one was the third one, was
correct.
it not?
And then the Going into the Future
Was the
and then
second one.
and then the side timeline was the second one.
Yeah. Yep, I remember that. I forgot that, apparently. Oh, that's a tough one. Huh?
Okay. Then
I'd have to go the second best would be the third one. If I had to pick between those 3 movies.
so I was hoping you were going to go with that.
Okay.
So my gamble worked out there. Then. So, and I'm sure there's other analogies out there, but I know in the movie world, when you have a trilogy, from my experience, usually the best seem to be the first and the last. But the one in the middle
Makes
seems
sense.
to always kind of be like not bad, but it's not.
Makes sense, like the Matrix movies.
Yeah, first and third were pretty good. Second one was like,
Yeah, exactly.
same thing.
Now, what about the John Wick movies? I haven't seen any of
haven't
those.
seen them yet.
Okay, good. I just ordered them last night on Amazon.
So we can't sit here and talk about John Wick because neither of us have no idea.
No, I know there's a lot of guns. And
Good.
I've watched the training videos of what he did to work into what he did for the movies. So I'm very, very excited to watch them.
Good enough. And I'd like to watch them too. You said you ordered what, you like DVDs or something?
Blu-rays, yes.
Nice. Maybe I'll borrow. I don't. Can I play those on an Xbox?
Yes. Wait,
Yeah.
which one?
I don't know.
Xbox One, yes.
I don't know which Xbox the kids have.
What color is it?
White. I think.
Oh, then no.
All right. Can I play on Wii?
I don't think so.
Oh, all right. All right.
Wii-
We've been so sidetracked.
Does Wii
You're
have a Blu-ray player
So
in there?
sidetracked.
Does we do anything? Like DVD or
Yeah,
video?
we will play some stuff. Yes, I know that. We used to do that, but
I don't know.
we have so sidetracked here. So the point that I was making is the one in the middle never seems to be like doesn't make up to the name. It doesn't live up to
Not
the
always,
name.
no.
And the point that I'm making here is, do you know what episode number this is?
75?
Very good, very good. So, in the decimal world, this would be
3/4. 0.75.
3/4. Exactly. So, the point that I'm making here is 3/4 ton trucks. What the hell is the point? That was a long way around, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty good at that. I'm pretty
Wow.
good. Yeah, okay. Here's the deal. I think we need to talk briefly about 3/4 ton trucks and the pros and cons and like where, like, just follow me here, man.
I'm trying, man.
It's time to hit the trail, lock in those hubs, and throw it into low range. Because you are listening to Wheelin' with Keith and Johnny Orange. They're here to talk about 4x4s, trucks, and everything to do with enjoying the great outdoors. Buckle up. Here's your hosts, Keith and Johnny Orange.
I don't know where you got this whiskey, but this is good stuff, man.
Yeah, okay, all right. It is pretty decent, But, okay, so the point I was making is 3/4 ton trucks. They, first of all, in automotive history, they're a new-ish thing. Back in the 50s and early 60s, depending on the make, you went straight from like a utilitarian half-ton truck to a 1-ton truck.
I like it.
And I did not do any history on this episode, so I'm going off the old noggin on this one, off the gray matter.
That explains that smell.
But I know like Chevy came out with the C20, which was a 3/4 ton truck. And I'm not sure what year Ford came out with the F-250, but I want to say that it was like maybe 72, 73. So, these were, the 60s, early 70s. All of a sudden, they started going to these crossover trucks that they called a 3/4 ton truck.
Okay.
And of course, we still have that today. You still have your half-ton truck category, your 3/4 ton truck category, and your 1-ton truck category. And that's pretty much what they've stuck with for the full-size trucks. I guess if I wanted to prep better and I wanted to do a bunch of research in it, I know that originally a half-ton, 3/4 ton, 1-ton was the load carrying capacity of the vehicle, but now it's way over that. A lot of the 1-tons you can put 8,000 pounds.
Now it's just a classification anymore.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's a classification. But from a 4x4 standpoint, and not even so much as a weight carrying standpoint or a towing standpoint, from a 4x4 standpoint, do you think that a 3/4 ton has any meaning or any draw?
Not really. I mean, it's an in-betweener. That's about it. But like you said, it'd be better to just jump up right to the 1-ton.
Well, it's kind of the point that I was making, yeah, because if you go to especially in the early days, in the 70s and the early 80s, if you went to a 3/4 ton truck, it pretty much got you the 1-ton rear axle, but it got you the half-ton rear axle, but with 1-ton brakes on it. So you didn't get a stronger front axle. You just got better braking.
You said that a little backwards there.
What do you mean?
You said you got a 1-ton rear axle.
Yes.
And then a half-ton rear axle with 1-ton brakes.
I'm sorry, half-ton front axle. Half-ton front axle.
Just wanted to clarify it for that.
Yeah, okay. I said rear half-ton front axle with 1-ton brakes.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
So they would take their half-ton Dana 44 or whatever, and they would make it an 8-lug.
Yeah, unless it was just some kind of great cost savings for the manufacturer. But at that point, why?
Well, and then what got confusing to a lot of people is, Chevy never did this to us. Chevy, the Dana 60 in the front was 1-ton only.
Yeah.
But Dodge and Ford, if you got over an 8,000 pound GVW, you got a Dana 60 in the front instead of a Dana 44. And so now there's 3/4 tons that are essentially 1-tons. They just have 3/4 ton badging on them, which I believe was simply for insurance rating purposes, things like that.
That would make sense. A lot of them just kind of didn't want to rate it that high for whatever reason, so they just downgraded it for that quote-unquote safety margin.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen on a lot of things over the years.
Now, I know Brazil and Argentina and many parts of South America, they get real funny about their truck classification categories and whether something's commercial or not. And even certain states, like the subdivision that my mom lives in Florida, if you have a pickup truck in your driveway, that's okay. Mm-hmm. But if you have a 3/4 ton or a 1-ton, it's considered a commercial vehicle. So, you own your own little landscaping company down there.
Yeah.
If you have an F-150 that you tow with, that's considered to be okay. But if you drive an F-250 as your daily driver, they consider you to be a commercial vehicle. But the landscaping guy with the F-150, it's really screwed up.
Yeah, I'd start having fun with that.
Yeah, I just... Yeah, so
I don't like stupid things like that.
No.
There's a guy at my work just picked up a deuce and a half, an old Kaiser. Mm-hmm. And he was parking it at his dad's house in the road, and the neighbors kept calling the cops because it didn't have a plate.
Okay, so you put triangle on it?
No, actually, he just brought it to work and parked it in the parking lot there. Right. But no, they're giving him issues about it, and it's one, it's a military vehicle, and two, he can't get a plate. Secretary of State's guiding to by appointment and all that. So he ended up having to make an emergency appointment with SOS to get a plate for it. So yeah, that thing's cool though. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Except he left the batteries on one day for 2 days when he left it there. Came back, wouldn't start. Took the batteries out to go get him charged at the O'Reilly. It killed it drained them so far out that it actually reversed the polarity on one of the batteries.
That's not good.
No, they had been purchased from Walmart this year, though, so they just warrantied them out, and he's good to go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, back to our 3/4 ton story here for a second.
Yeah, we kind of like quadrupled that with a deuce and a half.
Well, that's all right. Part of the problem with 3/4 tons, especially in the 4x4 world, is the misinformation where so many young people entering the hobby looking to go to 1-ton axles under a Jeep or slinging them under an old Blazer or Bronco or whatever they're building, automatically assume that anything with 8 lugs is 1-ton axles. And as we know, that's not the case.
Correct.
And that's because of 3/4 tons.
Yes.
Your Dodge D200s, your Chevy 2500s, your Ford F-250s, these were all vehicles that came with Dana 44s in the front with 8 lugs on the outer. So it seemed like it was a big 1-ton axle, but the reality was it was still just a half-ton axle with big brakes on it and a big hub. Not any stronger. And there's a lot of misinformation about that, especially in the Ford world. There's a bunch of people that just swear up and down that the Dana 44 8-lug version made in the F-250s up till 79 was like some sort of Super 44 and it was stronger. It is internally the same.
Yeah.
Same axle shaft, same ring and pinion. It is the same axle. The only thing difference is the hub and the brakes. Slightly bigger, and I think the bearings are the same. So it's not even like you're getting a stronger bearing. You're just getting a larger physical hub, 8-lug, and you're getting a dual piston caliper versus a single piston caliper.
How disappointing that would be to do a whole build based on that thought and then to find out you done messed up.
I've known a few people that have done it over the years. They've started with something like that, and they think that they're building something crazy. And
come to find out, nope.
You got better brakes. Basically, in the long run, that's what you do. You got better brakes going to a 3/4 ton front axle. And then, what compounds the problem with that, and we've spoken, and it's been a long time. I don't even remember what episode number it was, but we've spoken about, it was one of our Dana 60 episodes. Oh, well, that'd be episode 60. But maybe it was another episode. We talked about how Ford, when they came out with the Super Duty in 99, started confusing us even further by putting Dana 50 solid axles in the front, which were essentially a Dana 44 inside of a Dana 60 housing.
Yeah.
And then,
I don't know why they do crazy shit like that.
That was, absolutely, that was pointless. I mean, I get that maybe you had some leftover parts or whatever, but why put Dana 44 size components inside of a Dana 60 housing?
That doesn't even make sense. Again, unless they're just reusing or recycling extra stuff.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
But even then, there can't be that much extra stuff that you're just, let's put this stuff in this and call it this.
Well, speaking of which, and maybe we can grill them on it a little bit, not get too mean. I did reach out to some reps over at Dana Spicer that I know.
Nice.
And they are very much looking forward to coming on the podcast.
Awesome.
But they are unfortunately out of town this weekend.
Bummer.
So hopefully pretty soon we can get them on, and maybe we can ask them some of those questions. We can say, hey, what was the point of doing this? Was this something that you guys brought to the OEMs, or is this something that the OEMs said, we want to spec to this? And I would assume that it's probably more the OEMs, the Ford and Chevy and Chrysler and all that, saying, okay, we want it to these various specs, and we want it as cheap as possible, and all this and that. But it just creates some weird parts out there.
Very, very much so. And then you have that problem down the road. 10, 20 years, you got people coming to part this stuff out. You cannibalize them for other projects, and now everything's all kinds of screwy.
Yeah, and that's even further on that, speaking of the Chevys, is up until a certain year, and I want to say it was maybe 78, 77. I don't know for sure. The Chevys had a Dana 44 8-lug in the K20s, in the 3/4 ton Chevy trucks. And then they switched over to a GM Corporate 10-bolt, which shares a couple of parts with the 44, and it's basically a 44 ripoff axle. But, there's been people that have had those axles over the years, and then they try to pass them off as a 44 or a 60 on, Craigslist or Marketplace or forums or something like that, being completely uninformed.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I just saw yesterday, there was a guy who was looking to swap an axle on one of the Facebook pages I'm in. He wanted to swap this axle that he had found local seller or whatever, and the guy swore up and down it came out of a 2004 F350. So, of course, he figures Dana 60, all this and that. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to know if it fit his truck. Now, one, his truck was a passenger drop application. So a driver drop Ford axle is not going to work so well. No. Two, he's got in the pictures, it's a Kingpin axle. And as you and I know, the Kingpin axles with Ford stopped in 1991. So it definitely did not come out of a 2000 Ford F350.
Oh, custom build maybe.
Yeah, sure, And so I'm looking at the picture and I'm like, no, dude, that's an 86 to 91 F350 front axle you got there. I'm like, your seller's an idiot, And but that's the thing, and even there in the Fords, when Ford dropped the solid axle from 86 to, from 80 to 85, they dropped the solid axle, and then they went to the TTB 8 lug in their 3/4 ton. Ugh. Yeah, what man. That's the thing to me, 3/4 tons. And my Excursion is technically a 3/4 ton. They classify them with a 1-ton tow rating, but if you look at the axles, I got a Dana 50 front, and I got a Sterling rear. It's basically a 3/4 ton, and it's got the 3/4 ton springs in it. So, I don't understand why, and I would love for someone to really fully explain it to me, why the 3/4 ton was even thought of in the first place.
I would have to agree with that because I got nothing.
I mean, you guys got a K2500, don't you? The red one? Isn't that a 2500?
We sold that a couple years ago. We got a K1500 now.
So the red truck?
Yeah. It's a 1500.
That's not the same truck you guys have had forever?
No, we sold that.
And you upgraded to a 3/4 ton?
No.
Or you downgraded to half ton?
Yeah.
I didn't know you changed trucks.
Yeah.
Does it look the same? It's the same look of truck. Is it both red? Chevys?
Yeah, it's 1 year newer. This one has this one has AC, stereo that works. It's got electric windows.
I guess I did not pay that much attention. I had no idea that you changed out that truck.
It's got a crappy, annoying brush guard that my dad won't let me take off.
Oh, yeah. So you got the 1500. Well, there's something even weirder. Have you ever seen a 1500 HD?
Yes.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, what? So, yeah. In the truck, it was a 6-lug truck, and that was like 88 to 98 or something like that. You're going to look it up? Oh, you're
no, I'm just putting my hand on the table.
But in the Suburban, it was actually 8-lug. So they had a 1500 8-lug, and it was a 1500 HD, and it had something to do with tow rating and this and that. Same goes with the Mega Cab. For several years, the Mega Cab Dodge was available as a 1500, but it still was 8-lug axles.
Weird.
Yeah. This 3/4 ton stuff, man, to me, it's just like, without getting too political, it's the crossover of the, it's like the, I can't decide what I am. I don't get it.
I got nothing either. I got nothing.
If I was going to buy a brand new truck, I mean, I can't imagine, I haven't even looked up at it. Is the price point that much different between an F250 and a 350?
I have no idea.
Or a Chevy 2500 and 3500?
I haven't priced a truck out in God knows how long.
It was a couple of years ago, I was pricing out the F250 and the F350, and I don't think the pricing was that much of a difference. So yeah. I mean, the gear ratios were the same, engines, transmissions were the same. The 350 maybe had an extra leaf in the rear springs.
But I don't know why there would be so little differentiation between them.
What do you think we should call this episode? I'm kind of thinking like the pointless 3/4 ton or something.
That works.
It's like, or what is the point of a 3/4 ton?
3/4 ramblings.
3/4 rambling. I think we've used ramblings before, but
I mean, we ramble a lot. We're doing that a lot tonight.
I mean, we could just say 19 millimeter ramblings. Oh, you get the reference. Oh, did I make Mr. Johnny Arch lose his train of thought there?
Yep. Oh. Oh, that was a lot stronger than I thought.
Yeah, I know. We need to get some more guests on here, and I'm sorry. John, I reached out.
You didn't fail. They did. They failed us.
I reached out to a dozen different people
Ooh, that's strong.
to come on. Probably like 7 or 8 of them got back with me and said, absolutely, I want to come on, but it's Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
And they said, I just can't, right now.
Yeah.
With family and this and that. So
understandable.
Hopefully next week after, because I do like the interview format as well. I've enjoyed what we've done.
A lot of fun. Bring someone new into the mix.
It does. It does. I don't know if there's anyone out there that's a huge, 3/4 ton aficionado, but if there is, reach out to us on 4x4 Talk.
Yeah, let us know why you are the way you are. We're curious.
Yeah, like I don't know. To me, it's like the bronze medal of the truck world.
Yeah,
or silver medal. Because I guess the bronze would be the half ton, and then like the silver medal. It's not
I guess it'd be
it's
like
not
a
the gold medal. It's like but it's like aiming for that. Like I don't get. I don't understand. I've never fully understood the 3/4 ton series.
I'll be honest, I've never put that much thought into it.
Well, basically, I mean, my thinking behind it, and I don't know if there's an insurance rating difference or something. You basically get the big brakes.
Yeah.
And so to me, a 3/4 ton, like a 250 or a 350, in most applications, now the 250s have a Dana 60 in the front. And now the 2500 Chevys and the 3500 Chevys have the same front differentials, even though they're both IFS, which is still wrong. Chevy, fix that, please.
I'm going to be sick.
And exactly. And Dodge uses the AAM in both the 3/4 ton and the 1 ton. Or the Ram now. They don't use Dodge anymore. It's Ram. But the Ram, you know where I'm going with it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but, it used to be for many years, it was essentially a brake upgrade package. It was a rear axle and brake upgrade package. So it was a towing thing. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe the 3/4 ton thing was a towing thing. And then when you got to the hardcore off-road use for at least an industrial type use, that's when you stepped up to the 1 ton. Maybe. I don't know. It was
all speculation.
It really is. It really is. I don't know why, it went from being simply half ton, 1 ton to all of a sudden, let's do something in the middle. Of course, it's 2020. Heck, we might see, the newly formed Peugeot Chrysler. Have you heard about that?
No.
You know who Peugeot is?
Puger.
Yeah, major favorite transmission ever for the XJ.
The Puger.
Yeah, they bought Chrysler. Anyways.
Wait, what?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Yeah, it's no longer Fiat Chrysler. It's not like Peugeot Fiat Chrysler or something like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, anyways. Yep.
Good water.
Man, I don't even know where I was going with that. But anyways, they, maybe they will come out with that's what I was going to say. Maybe they're going to come out with being 2020. Maybe they'll come out with the 5/8 ton or something. The 11/16 ton.
Oh God.
Of course, being the future, and we're all metric now, they're going to come out with a 22 millimeter ton or whatever. I don't know, man.
It's just slightly larger, but in between two different sizes.
I'm saying. Or 23 millimeter, the wrench that no one ever uses for anything.
True story.
Exactly.
I don't think if I have one of those now.
I think I do, but I've never used it. Like, it came with a set, and I'm like, what actually uses a 23 millimeter?
Yeah, I don't know. I have some weird wrenches. I don't really have, complete wrench sets. It's all mismatched stuff.
I don't know.
I've got some weird crap in that toolbox, I tell you what.
I tell you. Well, anyways, I don't know what else to talk about with 3/4 tons, except that I still, in my heart, I think they're kind of a pointless thing. Even though I've owned a number of them over the years,
yeah,
I don't understand it. It's like, just go to a 1 ton, man. Yeah. and maybe our listeners, maybe if you're a newbie listener, and I know this is a rambling episode, but maybe if you, if you're a newbie listener and you're thinking about a truck to build, I'm going to tell you, if it was built prior to, I guess, it would be prior to about 2003. If it is a 3/4 ton, you've got a weaker front axle. So if you're looking at a 90s Dodge or Ford or an 80s Chevy and it's a 3/4 ton, you're not getting the big 1-ton front axle. Go look for the K30 or the 3500 or the Dodge 350 or 3500 and the F350, because you're gonna end up with at least the better front axle there.
For sure.
So that's all I got on that, John.
I got nothing else.
You got nothing else. You done talking about 3/4 tons?
Yeah, I think.
Well, let's talk briefly then about a couple other things.
Actually, I have something to throw a little chink in the chain here.
Sure, go ahead.
Something I've discussed a couple times just off the air between you and myself, and Mr. Andrew was kind of gagging at this idea earlier. What's your thoughts on lifting a 2-wheel drive truck?
Pre-runner?
No, stock truck.
Why?
Exactly.
I mean, okay. I went to high school with this guy who I've stayed in touch with, and like 8 or 9 years, and I think he might be a listener, so I'm not gonna name names, but you know who you are if I'm talking about you right now. He bought brand new, and I think it was his first brand new truck. He bought maybe 08, 09. He bought a Chevy 1500.
Okay.
And he bought like the cheapest model you could buy, like the contractor special, white, vinyl interior.
The work trucks.
Yeah, work truck.
Yeah. I had a tailgate from one of those.
Good old work truck.
Yeah.
Bought this thing, 2-wheel drive one, put about an 8-inch lift on this thing with like 37-inch tires and drove it around town. And
dude,
every
sorry,
time
what's wrong with you, man?
Exactly. Every time I saw him driving around town, I'm like, what? What are you doing? And I ran into him one day, and I said, and I was being such a 4x4 guy, I was trying to justify it in my mind. I said, are you, like, you bought the wheels and tires and everything, like, you're getting ready for a solid axle swap, right?
That's legitimate.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. And I says, what? I'm like, why did you lift it and put the big...
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's just, I like the look, man. And I'm like, oh, God, no. Now, fortunately, he has had a couple of kick-ass 4x4s since.
Okay.
And I think he's starting to kind of appreciate owning a... He had 4x4s before that, though, too. So I was kind of like confused by this.
Yeah.
Because back in high school, he had a really awesome... I want to say it was like an 89 or 90 S10, but it had like the whatever package came with all the skid plates and the roll bar and the bed and all that. And it was like the traditional 80s crap, but, that kind of stuff. And, so I don't know. But lifting a 2-wheel drive, I mean, whatever floats your boat. If that's what you like.
No, it's wrong. Don't do it.
Okay, it's wrong, but at the same point, if you're a automotive hobbyist, and that's what's going to get you into the automotive hobbyism.
Yeah,
do it, but just know that you're going to get ridiculed for it.
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and do it with the intention of knowing you're going to go to a 4x4 swap at some point.
Yeah,
please.
Well, there you go. If you're going to lift your 2-wheel drive Chevy or whatever, tell people, oh yeah, man, I just bought the wheels and tires, got a sweet deal on them, and I'm planning on doing a solid axle swap.
Even if you're lying, just tell everybody that's the plan.
In fact, I'm going to call Off-Road Design, and I'm going to get one of their 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive coilover conversion kits. And
nice.
What, you like that?
Yeah.
You like how I plug non-sponsors? See, hey, tell you what, listeners of the podcast, you own a business, you own a four-wheel drive business, you want a really cheap way to advertise on this podcast, come on the podcast and talk to us. Like, if you're a real enthusiast, come on and talk to us and, like, tell us about what you got going on. And we end up plugging you for the next 35 episodes, and we don't even charge you for it. So, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, it's true. They're not a sponsor,
true.
but I mean, hey, I still think that's pretty cool. And I'm still thinking about Dad's old truck, Igor, which was a 2-wheel drive square body Chevy.
Yeah.
And now knowing that Steven's got those coil-over design 2-wheel drive or 4x4 conversion kits. So that's the thing. I could take that 2-wheel drive Chevy of Dad's and I could lift it. Or I could do the right thing and I could go like off-road design and I could get their coilover kit, sling a Dana 60 onto the front of that Kingpin Dana 60 or a Super Duty 60.
I like where
put
this
it
is
under
going.
the front of that thing.
I like this.
I was actually thinking about that today. I'm like, take old Igor, which is the old pest control truck, which I don't know if you've ever seen that truck. It's been in storage forever.
Probably not then.
It's like an 87 square body Chevy, but it's pretty solid still.
Nice.
It's got an old chemical tank with a bent up bed on it. Pull that, get rid of the chemical tank, get rid of the bed, put maybe like a utility bed on the back of that thing, 4-wheel drive conversion with like an LS motor and like a Super Duty axle in the front of it with some coilovers. That'd be a pretty sweet truck.
Yeah.
That would be a pretty. I'm kind of thinking about building Igor, man. Call up
We
Steven.
got too many projects going.
Yeah, I know that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah. I got my 3 and yeah.
But anyways, back to what I wanted to say before you asked about the 2-wheel drive, which is a great question. But Museum of Off-Road Adventure. We haven't talked a ton about them lately. I mean, we've kind of like plugged them a little bit here and there. We are actively working on the new theater, which is going to show low cost and free, depending on which movie it is. We're going to have some awesome movies. We just picked up a quasi vintage vending machine.
Oh, I want to see that thing so bad.
Probably early 90s. I don't think it's much older than that, but it does both pop and snacks, and everything on it's $1. So when we have the movies or visitors to the, you can come in, you go to the movies. When we have our movie nights, know right off the bat there that all your snacks that you can get out of this thing, whether it be candy bars, bags of popcorn, whatever, pop, it's all only $1. So, just keep that in mind. Keep in touch and watch the Museum of Off-Road Adventure on Facebook. That's the, you just look us up, Museum of Off-Road Adventure on Facebook. And we will announce when the theater's open. When it is, we hope you all come out and check it out because we're going to have some cool movies and stuff. It's going to be a really cheap, fun thing for your family to do.
I'm really excited to see that when we're done with it.
And that's one of the exciting things going on there. I think we already announced the Willie CJ2's back.
I think we did, yeah.
But beyond that, not a lot going on there because we're still in the, the shutdown here with the everlasting job stopper and all that. And so,
I love that.
What?
Everlasting job stopper.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So,
oh, yeah.
But, John, what else? Like I said, we're kind of done with the 3/4 ton thing. Where else can people get a hold of us?
It's a good question. I mean, email, phone, snail mail, if they have our address. I don't think anyone here is going to have my address. I hope not. I don't know. Just trying to think of something more funny to go with this. I got nothing. So the actual place to get a hold of us is on Facebook. Our chat or our group page, 4x4 Talk. A couple quick questions get you entry onto the page. You can interact with us, other members who listen to the show, ask questions, post pictures, have conversations, any of that good stuff.
Make sure you like the Wheelin' page on Facebook.
Yeah, like
and
our page
Instagram and Twitter. We are actually on all of them now.
Yeah, I'm not doing the Twitter thing. I keep telling you, I'm not doing Twitter, dude.
We're not super active on there, but we are on there.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but check us out there. You can get a hold of us, or you can get some access to some other cool bonus content through Patreon. Patreon.com/WheelinRadio. Accesses those $2 a month for the End of the Trail, which is our after show following immediately the episodes when we record them. And yeah, I mean, there's some cool stuff there.
Make sure you go to the Museum of Off-Road Adventure on Facebook. Check them out. They're also on Facebook, or I'm also on Instagram.
Wouldn't it be check us out?
Yeah, check us out. Yep. On Instagram. Museum's not on Twitter. But make sure you check them out in both of those places and follow those, of course. And you can also go to 4x4 Museum, the group, if you're interested in historical 4-wheel drive and off-road stuff.
And I think that'll do us for everything tonight. So with that, thanks for listening and have a good one, everybody.